Okay, humans, here's another set of cases that are using emotions to treat emotions from various doctors. We had a few from a Ming Dynasty doctor named Wu Kun. We had a few from Zhang Zihe or Zhang Dairen, who was from the Jin Dynasty earlier. And these are some other ones I've collected from various sources. So here we go. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So from Gu Jin Yi Ancient and Modern Medical Cases with Annotations. Here's a case from Judan Shi. Judan Shi treated the younger brother of somebody named Chen, who had received the highest score in the imperial exams. Always the older brother is considered more important, and resources are put in the older brother, and the younger brother sometimes just can't even compete. So this younger brother was sick with cough and was spitting blood due to anxiety. Okay, so his facial complexion was dark, and he took herbs for 10 days but didn't recover. So, he's coughing and spitting blood. That, could be tuberculosis. That doesn't sound good. But anyway, Ju called on the older brother. I guess, that Ju Dunchi had been treating him, and he took herbs for 10 days and he should have responded but didn't. So then Ju goes to see the older brother and says, this disease of your younger brother, it developed from loss of Jur, which is the spirit of the kidneys, and damage to the kidneys. And so kidneys are water, and he says we must use joy to resolve it. Joy is fire. But also he said anxiety, and anxiety is metal and lungs type of stuff, or worry, is metal or lungs. So joy, fire overcomes metal, fire melts metal. So it's this kind of idea that he's using, but he's talking about both lungs and kidneys. Well, so the older brother looked for a place for the younger brother with sufficient clothes and food for him. And then the younger brother became really happy. I mean, I don't really understand this. What, was he out on the streets? And then the older brother didn't even care about the younger brother until Ju comes up and talks about it. So I don't really understand. This older brother doesn't seem like he's very kind to his family. Anyway, so they found a nice place for the sick younger brother, and the dark complexion receded instantly, and he recovered without herbs. From this, Judanchi said, to treat disease, one must seek its root. That's a quote from Su Wen 5. I'm pretty sure it's Su Wen 5. Even though herbs strike the disease, if you don't examine the cause, the disease can still not be cured. He's saying that even if the herbs were the right herbs for the treatment, but the root was not still taken out. And the root was emotions in this case. So, okay. And here is another case from Xu Mingyi Lei'an, the Qing Dynasty collection of case studies. A government official usually spoke cautiously. One day he was at a gathering with his peers and his subordinates, and at the official banquet, there was a rather large wobo or daikon radish. A guest admired it, and this host, this government official, said, "Oh, I have ones that are as large as a person." And all the guests laughed, thinking, "How can there be a daikon that's as big as a person?" The host deeply regretted, saying it. He felt he, made a faux pas, and he blamed himself and said, "Hey, they've never seen one that big. And I talked about it, but they've never seen it. So, they just thought I was making things up, and they laughed at me." And as a consequence, he became ill. And whatever herbs he took, he just wasn't getting better. His son wasn't a doctor, but his son was well read and understood stuff about how humans react. And so his son then understood that his father was deeply embarrassed. He thought his father's statement must be vindicated for the condition to resolve. Oops, I didn't mean to turn my camera on there. Goodbye. Yeah, okay. So later the son sent several people home to fetch a wobo as big as a person. Apparently he has this garden where he's got these like, radioactive giant daikon. He grew them as big as a person and bring it to his father's official office. Then he regathered all of the father's peers and all of his subordinates that had been at that banquet before where he had been laughed at. And then he forced his father to come with him in spite of the disease. The father's like, no, just let me lay in bed. I'm sick. And the son is saying, you have to come with me. You won't regret it. So after accompanying them for several rounds of drinks, the son brought out this daikon or this bobo that's as big as a person and wheeled it out in like a wheelbarrow in front of his father's seat. The guests were all amazed and how can it be so big? Oh, you were right. His father was very happy, and as a result he had recovered by the next morning. So this was a case that was originally from another book by Wang Ji, another Ming Dynasty doctor. Anyway, whatever. But I really like this. Okay. When somebody's embarrassed, they get sick because of it. You've got to somehow take away the embarrassment. Okay. Then there's this other doctor named Wu, and he was the teacher of Zhu Danxi. He treated a sick monk who was jaundiced, skinny, and worn out. This is like a Buddhist monk. Dr. Wu inquired about the disease, and the monk said, I am from Sichuan, and when I left home to become a monk, my mother was still alive. I wandered for 7 years until I got here in the region of Zhejiang. Suddenly, one day, I couldn't suppress my heart missing my mother. Oh, I miss my mom so much. I wanted to return, but I don't have money to go traveling. So from morning to night, I gazed toward the west, which is, Sichuan is west of Zhejiang. And I cried, but to no avail. This is how I got sick, just longing to see my mother. At that time, the monk was 25 years old. And so Wu had a place next door and let him stay there. Each day, Wu gave the money, I can't talk. Okay, each day, Wu gave the monk things like beef, pork, tripe, and sweet fat, boiled until it was falling apart. So remember, he's a Buddhist monk, and Chinese Buddhists tend to be vegetarian. And so, he's just kind of wasting away and falling apart. And so Wu is making him eat some meat to build it back his strength. Altogether, more than half a month passed like that. We'll also console the monk during that time, like gave emotional support, I guess. Will then further said, I'll give you 10 pieces of cash for traveling expenses. So that means 10 points, which in that time would be, more than it is today. I don't expect you to repay me. I only wish to rescue you from your doom. So Wu observed that the monk's physical body had revived a little and gave him 3 doses of Taoren Chengqi Tang in one day. They really liked to make people poop back then. I mean, we've seen a lot of cases, not today, but in various weeks. Yeah. The monk defecated all kinds of blood clots and phlegm accumulations, when he was just, longing for his mother, then, this again is probably spleen related emotions, and spleen binds up from excessive thought. And when, things bind up, then you get blood stasis and you get phlegm accumulating. The next day, Bo gave him thin rice porridge cooked with dried vegetables, and the monk recuperated for another half month and fully recovered. Then again, another half month, Bo gave him the 10 pieces of cash, which would be enough for him to go back on his travels and to go back home and to see his mom. Okay, so little TLC, a little tender loving care. Would work miracles along with some meat if you're not doing well on a vegetarian diet, maybe. I don't know. Okay, those are my cases for today.